Good morning, everyone. A very good morning. Shall we start the session? Today is the programming topic, that is system.input output, that deals with the Microsoft.office.core, that begins with the using word, interrupt word, how it will be occupied, how it will be declared as a Microsoft Office, that is core, that depends on the COM object, integrated object, that is integrated into the DLL part. So we should wait for at least, we can say 4 minutes. Okay, all right. So when we talk about the Office.dll, that is using the COM objects, so that needs to be referenced, so that needs to add the reference type of box, that is click on the COM tab and also closes that COM variable. That COM variable will be chosen with the word to add a reference to Word 2013 or 3 PIE. Now when we use the reference with the word, this additional reference will be used in the VBID and the Microsoft Office, and the core PIA as shown in diagram that says about how the PIA depends on. And standalone is a PIA that contains the definitions of some type of or some of the type that COM object model needs, and VBID is the PIA for the object model associated with the VB editor integrated into the Office. And that is the PIA or PIA for the COM functionality shared by all the Office applications such as the object model for the toolbars and the menus. Now that the proper references have been added to the console application, let's start writing the code. So double click on the Solution Explorer, make that code used with the console application, and if you have outlining turned on, you will see the next that is using at the top of the program.cs file with a plus sign next to it. Click on the plus sign to expand out the code where the using directives are placed, and then add these directives that you can easily make use of the objects from the word PIA and also the Microsoft Office.core.pia as well as the classes in the system.out namespace. So using the Office, Microsoft.office.core, using Word, Microsoft.office.interrupt.word, using system.input-output. That is using with the words wiki that is using with the words property, that is the assembly info.cs. So this CS contains the code. So we do not have to type out the name and the namespace such as the Microsoft.office.intro.word every time we need to declare a word object. With the alias in place, we can just type the word to specify the namespace. So we keep an alias namespace in place for the word and Office instead of just typing using Microsoft.office.intro. And this is also used for importing all types of the global scope. And this is because Word and the Office define hundreds of types, and do not want all these types named potentially that is colliding with the types we define in our code and also the reference type. And also for the purpose of this book, this code is clear when it says about the word, and rather than the application, so you simply say what namespace the application type is coming from. We are now ready to get the code that automates the part. So where to create a table after reading a text input, after reading a text file that will be created in the wiki table format. So this listing that shows the entire listing of the program rather than explaining every line of code, we focus on the line of code that automates the work. So we assume that the readers have some knowledge of how to read a file or text file in a .NET and also parse a string via the statement. So whenever we are using the alias name that is included in the namespaces, so we do not have to type out the entire namespace such as a Microsoft.office.interrupt.word. And every time we want to declare a word object. And with the alias in place, we can just type word to specify the namespace. So we keep this word alias namespace in a place for Word and Office instead of just typing using this one. That is Microsoft.office.interrupt.word. And also importing all types of variable into the global space or global scope, we can say. This is because Word and Office defines hundreds of types, and we do not want each and every type conditionally for these that we define in our code and with other reference type. And also for the purpose of this book, the code is clear, and when it says Word, application rather than the application, so you can also include the namespace the application type is coming from. And we are now ready to write some code that automates the word to create a table. after reading into a type input file in the wiki table format. So next figure shows the entire listing of our program. Rather than explaining every line of code in that listing, we mainly focus on the line of the code that automates the work. So we assume that a reader has some knowledge of reading, writing to read a text file that is used with the .NET, and that is also used to parse a string via split method. We briefly touch on the some objects in the word object model here, but when we say about the chapters or whatever the chapter that we have, so programming word, so working with the word events or working with the word objects, that covers the word object model in much more detail. And one of the first thing that we do in the listing tools is to declare a new instance of the word application object by adding these lines or this line of code to the main method of our program class. This is the word.application, the application, new word application. Although the word.application is an interface, so we are allowed to create a new instance of this interface because the compiler knows how it is going on, how it will be using, that is associated with the COM object, that is not how to start. And whenever the word starts in response to an automation executable to create a string or to create a new instance of its application object that starts up with without showing any windows. And you can also automate word in this invisible state when you want to automate word without confusing the user by bringing up the word window. And for this example, we want to make word show its main window, and we do so by adding this line of code. That is the application.visible equals to true. Next, we want to create a new empty Word document into which we will generate our table. And we do this so by calling the add method on the document collection that is written by the Word application. And this method or the add method also takes 4 optional parameters that we want to omit. This additional parameter or optional parameter in the Word method are specified by adding or by omitting or by passing its reference or variable that containing the special type, that is the type.missing. So we need a variable known as a missing that we set to the type.missing and pass it by reference to each parameter. Each parameter we want to omit. Each parameter we want to submit. So as shown below, this is object missing, type missing. So Word.document, the application.document.add, reference missing, reference missing, reference missing. So with the document created, we want to create or we want to read the input text file specified by the command line argument that is passed to our console application. So we need to pass that text file to calculate the number of columns and the rows. And when we know the number of columns and the rows, so we use the following line of code to get a range object from the object or for the document object. Now by passing out the missing variable to the object parameters, this range method will also return a range that includes the entire text of the document, entire part of the document. This is word.range, then range the document.range, reference missing, reference missing. We then use our range object to also add a table by calling the add method of the table. It returns or that is used with the range object. So we pass the range object again as the first parameter that is used to add method to specify that we want to replace the entire content of the document with a table, and we also specify the number of columns that we want. Whatsoever is the number of columns, whatsoever is the rows that is included also the word.table, table, range.tables, add, range, row count, column count, reference missing, and the reference missing. So this table object has a cell method that takes the rows and the column and also returns a cell object. That cell object may be used to set the text and the formatting of the content. This code may be used to set the cells of the table that is shown here. I note that in most of the object or office object models, the indices are one base, that meaning that they start with 1 as a minimum value rather than 0 being base and starting with the 0 as a minimum value. This is for Column index equals to 1, column index is less than equals to column count, column index plus plus. So what dot cell, cell table dot cell, row index, column index. Then cell dot range dot text, split row, column index. So these columns, these rows, these splitting up will be used as a minimum value, maximum value for the formatting of the table by setting the table to the size to fit content and also bolding the header file, or the header row as shown below. So one would also expect to be able to write the code tables.rows range.bold equals to true, but the word object model expects an int value 0 for false and 1 for true rather than a bool value. And this bold property doesn't return a bool because the range of the text could be all bound, not all bold or partially bold. That depends on the according to coding, that depends on the end of the program that forces the word to quit without saving any changes. So using the system.collection.generic, using system.text, system.input-output, using office equals to Microsoft Office.core, then int of word, namespace word wiki, class program, static void main string args. That will be denoted as a new word application. So object missing equals to system.type.missing. Word document, the document that is also used with the splitting up. Now let's continue with the session. There is an object missing, that is system.type.missing. Word document, the document, application, the document.add. Reference missing, reference missing, reference missing. So there are three arguments and all three are the reference missing. Then the text reader, new system.input-output.system reader arg. That is argument will be called with a new object, that is a reader. Then string separators, new string 1, separator 0 equals to 555, then row count equals to 0, then column count equals to 0. So we initialize with the row count as a 0 and the column count as also as a 0. So this reads the rows and the calculate number of rows and the columns. So system.collection.generic list, string row list, new systems or .collection.generic list string that is used with the string row equals to reader.readline. So while row is not equals to null, so I'm checking it is not equals to null. So with the row count plus plus and the row list dot add. So we are adding in the row list with the new row. Now if this is the first row, calculate the number of columns. So if it is the first row, that is the we are using up. So how many columns are available? That is checked with the row count equals to 1. Then string split header row equals to row dot split separator string split options dot none. And this also ignores the first and the last operator with the column count split header row dot length -2. This will be used as a row. There is a header dot read line and also creates a table word dot range the document dot range reference missing. So word dot table ranges or range dot table dot add range dot row count column count reference missing. So this will be used with the table, this will be used with the range that will be given as a document range. Then populate the table in column index 1, row index 1. So for each string R in the row list, string split row R dot split separators, string objects, string split options dot none. And for column index equals to 1 and it is going till column count, column index plus plus. So word dot cell table cell row index column index. This is used with the cell dot range dot text split row column index.